All right, guys. So he's doing it again. Trump is a right-wing postmodernist president. Postmodernist means he doesn't care about the truth. He cares about his truth. So effectively, he just makes stuff up and runs with it. Here's another great example of it here. He came out and said the following the other day. My representatives had a long and productive meeting with the Israelis today on Gaza. Israel has agreed to the necessary conditions to finalize the 60-day ceasefire, during which time we will work with all parties to end the war. The Qataris and Egyptians, who have worked very, very, very hard to help bring peace, will deliver this final proposal. I hope for the good of the Middle East that Hamas takes this deal, because it will not get better. It will only get worse. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So here he is saying, oh, bro, we're finalizing a ceasefire deal. It's amazing. We're working on it right now. Hamas better take it. So first of all, this is total bullshit. They're not finalizing a ceasefire at all. They're not talking to Hamas even a little bit. Hamas came out and said that. That's point number one. Point number two is, you already did this. You already did a fake ceasefire deal that wasn't a fucking ceasefire. Point number three, you keep saying, Hamas better take the deal. Well, you're not talking to them. So it's not a deal that they were involved with. So what the fuck are you talking about? But also, all the deals in the past, it was Hamas that accepted. It was Israel that said no to it. Hamas literally put on the table, we'll release all the hostages, put our weapons down, and leave Gaza. Like, that's it. It's over. We're done. Israel interjected and said, no, we don't want you to leave Gaza. You rejected a deal that returned all the hostages and had Hamas leave Gaza. Why? You guys know the answer why. Because then they don't have the permanent boogeyman that justifies and rationalizes them murdering hundreds of people per day, which they've been doing. That's the reality. So here's another another fake ceasefire deal. You ready for the reality? As DropSite points out, here's what they say. As DropSite has reported, despite Trump's public campaign for an agreement for a ceasefire in Gaza, Hamas has said there have been no substantive new proposals submitted, and that the discussions seem to be exclusively between Israel and the U.S. Watch the clip linked below and read the full details in our latest report. So let's go ahead and do that. Here we have Jeremy Scahill. He's going to give you the reality of what's going on the ground. Here we go.
Israel is continuing to intensify its attacks across the Gaza Strip, just mercilessly bombing the Palestinians of Gaza. And this is happening as President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have launched this public messaging campaign to claim that a Gaza ceasefire deal may be on the horizon. In fact, just this morning, on Tuesday morning, Trump said that he believes that a ceasefire agreement could be reached as early as next week. Israeli Prime Minister and fugitive from international justice, Benjamin Netanyahu, confirmed today that he is going to be traveling to the United States this weekend, where he says he's going to be meeting with not only Trump administration officials, but also U.S. congressional leaders. Now, it's important to note that while Trump and Netanyahu and the Hebrew language press are filled with stories about how there are going to be developments on a Gaza ceasefire, Hamas officials, and I've spoken with them myself, say they've been told nothing, that there is no actual substantive developments, that they have not seen any new proposals. They continue to be in touch with mediators from the region, from Qatar and Egypt. In fact, there have been a flurry of meetings in Cairo that were generated because of Trump's announcements, but there are no direct or indirect talks right now happening with anyone from the United States.
Trump did the same thing with India and Pakistan. They were fighting. Trump comes out and says, I got a ceasefire negotiated. I talked to both sides. I got a ceasefire. Then both India and Pakistan come out and say, we have no idea what he's talking about. He didn't talk to us. Nobody talked to us. What's he talking about? He did it already once before with a fake Gaza ceasefire. This is what he does. This is what he does. He will just make it up and then run with it. And what happens is our media is so naive, they just, like, the headlines will just run. Trump announces Gaza ceasefire deal. Hamas literally is like, nobody said a fucking word to us. Nobody said anything to us. So let me get this straight. U.S. is going to talk to Israel, come up with their own terms, just say it's a deal, and then close the matter? Well, gee, I wonder in what direction that deal will be skewed. You know, we are arming and funding Israel as they do their genocide in Gaza. We support them with everything. We literally bombed Iran on behalf of Netanyahu. And you're telling, I'm sure it's going to be a great deal that Israel and the U.S. put together as they pretend like it's been agreed to by both sides. I mean, it's so dishonest. Every part of this is so dishonest. What Trump realized is, if I just lie, I get away with it 95% of the time. So let me just lie about everything all the time.
You know, Hamas is saying that it is open to hearing new ideas, but it is remaining very clear in its position that it is not going to sign a short-term deal. What's on the table as of May is 60 days. Roughly half of the Israeli captives that are believed to still be alive in Gaza would be exchanged for a larger number of Palestinian captives being held by Israel. But the real sticking point boils down to one key issue, and that is that Israel has insisted that it is not going to agree to a process that would lead to a permanent ceasefire or a long-term truce, which Hamas has proposed. In fact, Hamas has said that in return for a multi-year truce, that it would release all of the Israeli captives living and dead in Gaza in what Hamas has called an all-for-all deal. So none of the terms seem to have been changed at all. Hamas has not heard any new ideas. And if you read the Hebrew language press, what the Israeli narrative is that the United States needs to pressure Qatar, to pressure Hamas to effectively capitulate. And I think I can say with a lot of confidence, based on almost daily discussions with Palestinian negotiators, that's not going to happen. So if Trump wants to make a deal, and this is important to him, and that's a big if, then everyone knows what the terms need to look like. The Palestinian side is not going to sign a surrender agreement. It's not going to sign an agreement that allows for indefinite Israeli occupation. So a lot of moves are going to happen, certainly in the coming days from the U.S. and Israeli side. The key question is, are Netanyahu and Trump actually talking about making an announcement that seeks to actually circumvent Hamas, which remains, as destroyed as Gaza is, the official governing body of Gaza? This is all happening as we've seen a series of really horrifying massacres take place. On Monday, Israel bombed a very popular cafe in Gaza where many journalists and others would go to access the internet, and the scenes coming out of that massacre are just utterly horrifying. We have just become accustomed for more than 20 months to seeing Palestinian bodies just shredded, and the world decreasingly paying any attention to this.
That's the other portion of this, which is it's just mind-boggling that we live in such a post-truth world, is that as Trump is out there saying, I got a ceasefire, amazing ceasefire, as that's happened, literally on a daily basis, Israel is murdering at least 100 Palestinians in Gaza, mostly children. Like, I follow this stuff for a living, y'all, I promise you. I can't keep up. I can't keep up. It's a new massacre every single day. And as Jeremy Scahill rightly points out there, none of it is making U.S. mainstream media now. None of it. I mean, we learned that this new fake humanitarian agency, which is just a CIA and Mossad op, they're literally using it as bait to bring Palestinians to one area, and then they open fire and start killing them. Anybody who does get flour, Palestinian journalists on the ground have the evidence, have the proof, have showed it, that they are putting in the flour crushed up oxycodone to make the Palestinians more passive, more accepting, easier to manipulate, easier to ship out to wherever the hell they want to eventually ethnically cleanse them to. Libya, Jordan, Egypt, wherever. What I just told you right there, that's literally from just the past week or two. These are the updates. So more, Israeli pilots finished bombing Iran, had leftover missiles, so they dumped them on Gaza to avoid waste. Hundreds of airstrikes, hundreds of massacres, not for strategy, but to save resources, to save fuel. Gaza as a dump site for war crimes. Full dehumanization. Is anybody in the Western press going to talk about this? Haaretz actually ran the report about how it's just full genocide with this fake humanitarian outlet. Like, they're literally luring them there to murder them. Like, Haaretz ran an amazing report on that. An Israeli outlet is doing more than U.S. outlets to talk about this. Has any U.S. outlet talked about this? When they did the illegal bombing of Iran, they said, we got some leftover. Let's go massacre people in Gaza. That's what happened. All right, more. Gaza's premature babies left without milk as meningitis spreads and medical supplies run out. Dr. Ahmed Al-Farah, head of pediatrics at Nasser Hospital in Gaza, says newborns in his ICU are being denied formula milk due to Israel's blockade and warns of a growing meningitis outbreak that cannot be properly diagnosed or treated. Quote, I have 20 premature babies with no milk. What crime did they commit to be punished like this? He described watching children die of starvation and seeing modern diseases like marasmus and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, reappear. One 7-year-old girl now weighs just 10 kilograms, half her weight before the siege. Nasser Hospital has no gauze, no space for new patients, and no antibiotics to treat meningitis. 40 cases today, and we don't even have the drugs to tell if it's viral or bacterial, he said. What I'm giving you in this segment is literally just like one day of scrolling. Hey, look at what's happening today, just today. When you have a situation where Israel murders paramedics, bulldozes them into the ground, lies about it, does an investigation of themselves and says, oh no, it was all clear. How many schools have been bombed? How many hospitals have been bombed? As Jeremy Scahill pointed out, they just bombed a cafe, one of the few remaining places in Gaza that had working internet, where the journalists on the ground can report information, show pictures, show videos of the horrors, the atrocities. They bombed that cafe knowing we're going to get journalists if we do this. They've already killed over 200, nearly 300 journalists. More journalists have died because of the IDF killing them in Gaza than died in World War II. What we're witnessing here is the worst of humanity. It is a live stream genocide. This is the Holocaust in 4K. Yeah, those are strong words, but it's an accurate description of reality. It's an accurate description. Wasn't there a report the other day? I think we covered it. Nearly 400,000 people are missing in Gaza. You know what that means? They're dead. That's what that means. They've murdered 400,000, which is why Trump and Netanyahu always say, we got to move about 1.7, 1.8 million people out of Gaza. Well, where'd you get the 1.8 number from? We were told it was 2.3 million that lived in Gaza before all this. Now we're down to 1.8. It ain't no 50,000 dead. It ain't no 60,000 dead. We're talking about hundreds of thousands. People dying of literal starvation right in front of our eyes. And the world, yawn, largely moved on. And Trump gets to go out there and play pretend and say, I got a solution. I got a ceasefire. It's really incredible. It's really amazing. We really figured it out. This is going great. Meanwhile, the absolute horrors and atrocities unfolding on a daily basis, the purposeful murder of countless innocent men, women, and children. It's all happening, and nobody talks about it. We send Israel more money. We send them more weapons. We give them a green light to do whatever the hell they want to do to whoever the hell they want to do it. Sending them 2,000-pound bombs. Trump lifted the moratorium on the 2,000-pound bombs. You want to bomb a residential area and kill everybody in sight? Okay, don't care. This is where we are. So, of all his lies, this may be his worst lie yet. That as the genocide is hitting a fever pitch on a daily, at least 100 people murdered on a daily basis by Israel. Innocent Palestinians desperately looking for food. People are dying of starvation, or they're getting murdered when they go to get food. There's horrible videos of children that have both arms gone and both legs gone, crying in a wheelchair saying, why aren't my arms and legs growing back? When are they supposed to grow back? You have a video of a little girl I saw holding out a little basket, asking for some flour and crying, right? As all that's going on. Nobody's talking about it. And Trump is pretending like, oh, we got a solution. Ceasefire, yeah, I figured it out. There's been no talk with Hamas. There's been no talk with any Palestinian leaders. It's all fake. It's all kayfabe. It's all a show. And then when they kill another 100 people tomorrow, nobody will talk about that. So think about how diabolical it is. That, like, at least in the past, a villain would be forthright enough to, as they do the atrocities, acknowledge we're doing these atrocities and we're not interested in peace, right? Now, they increase the atrocities on a daily basis as they go out there and say, we got peace, it's amazing, it's incredible, we got a ceasefire, it's a really great deal, it's really something special. So it is a mass gaslighting campaign to pretend like the opposite of what is happening is what's happening. Do you understand? There is a special place in hell for all of these people. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.